Lopez wants it away.
And it's hit deep to left center. Andrew Jones on the run. This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza, and the Mets lead 3-2. Beto behind the net. Swings it in front. He's gone! Beto! 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 Stefan Beto! And the Rangers have one more hell of a time, baby! But it's Mount Vancouver! Anthony for three. Puts it in! Next by one with 8.2 remaining!
Joe Namath, number 12, has been the one big sidelight. He's come down here and he says the Jets are going to win. In fact, he doesn't even predict it. He says, I guarantee a Jet victory.
His first at-bat of the game. There's a fly ball deep to left. It's on its way. There it goes. And the Yankees are going to the World Series. Aaron Boone has hit a home run. The Yankees go to the World Series.
This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
That's right, 4:02. Welcome to WHPC Sports Talk here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Michael Merlo. I'm joined by Matt Leonard and Ross Levine. It was a very busy weekend in New York sports. Some good news, some bad news, and I think some hopeful news for some. First, guys, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great as far as my New York team is concerned. I'm on top of the world.
Yeah, feeling good as a Met fan, Yankee fans. Not so great, but I think the panic button is being hit a little too early. But we'll obviously get into that. Ross, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I am not so happy with my quarterback. That doesn't look like he came and played in practice. So, yeah, I already washed my hands on the guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't want to overreact to practice and preseason, but we're probably going to do that anyway. We'll get into football in a little bit. Obviously, the Zach Wilson news. Not great originally, but I think now there's a little more optimism that this guy is going to play this season, at least.
Yeah.
And it should be soon, but they won't know until they open his knee up and really get in there and see what's going on. So we'll get to that in a little bit. We are going to start with the New York Yankees, though, who, listen, let's face it, they haven't played good. They haven't played good baseball. They've lost 9 of 11, 7 of 9. They lose a series now to Boston, in Boston over the weekend, and not much is going right for them. But we need to preface this. We need to say this. There are a lot of injuries. There are a lot of things going wrong for them right now.
Yeah.
The highs were so high at the beginning of the year. The runs they were going on were crazy. I mean, just think about it. The run that the Mets are on right now, whatever it is, 18 of 21, right? Or even just go back 15 of 17 from a couple of days ago. The Yankees were doing that consistently. They had like 3 of those.
I know, yeah.
In the beginning of this season. So I think the panic button with the New York Yankees kind of needs to come back a little bit. I'm not there yet.
I'm not there yet either.
Just because there's so many guys missing right now. And listen, they have issues, and they have real problems that injuries aren't affecting. Like, an injury does not, except for Michael King, has not affected the fact that they don't have a effective closer right now.
Yeah.
You don't know if he's hiding something, but I doubt it.
And even
what?
Clay Holmes. You don't know if he's something, tweaked something weeks ago and maybe he's off.
Well,
but
there's no injury that we know of.
that's true. Nothing's out there that's affecting Clay Holmes.
So there are issues with that bullpen. We'll get to that. But I think overall the weekend wasn't great. They didn't hit again.
No, they didn't hit again. I mean, the one win that they had against the Boston Red Sox, which is sad to say the only one win against the Red Sox, but their only win was you were on the edge of your seat.
The IKF game.
Yeah, the IKF game, that's number 1. Number 2, they were on the edge of their seat because in the bottom of that 9th inning, it was first and second one out. You're facing Devers and Daniel Bogarts. Oof. And those two guys they give Efrost a gift because it was 2-0 and you're just, they barely escape against the Boston Red Sox. And then last night, 2 hits. 2 hits. That's it. Just 2 hits, and it took 2 hours and 10 minutes to end that game.
Against Michael Wacha, by the way. I guess he's pitching well, but that's the guy that beat the Yankees really bad last night.
And he didn't pitch for 2 months. He has not pitched for 2 months, and he mowed them down. The bullpen for the Red Sox was great, and the Yankees. I know there's injuries, but there's no excuse for just 2 hits, and the bullpen is a concern. And honestly, I'm not. Even though Montez was good in the middle game, I'm still not sold. I'm just not. Because you got to remember something. The Red Sox are not that good of a team. They're just not. I mean, let's be honest.
Not at this point, no.
No, they're a team that's 2 games under 500 for a reason. So for them to just barely escape in 1 game and to lose in 2 games, which, by the way, they should have won the first game, their bullpen blew it, that tells you something about where the Yankees are. And that's not good. It's not good at all, and they're not hitting. And Aaron Judge, I mean, look, if I was other teams, by the way, I'm walking Judge, because there's nobody that scares me.
I'd put him on. I just put the 4 fingers up and I'd say go to first.
Yeah,
don't even throw the pitches.
But Donaldson's behind him, especially like last night.
Yeah, and I don't understand that. Why is Rizzo not batting third?
Or almost anybody else. Arguably almost anybody else.
I don't understand that. Listen, they got problems right now, but let's go back to even a couple of days ago when they have Rizzo back and even Carpenter's in there. And I know this was only a few games, but they were not scoring even with all those guys in there. So effectively, the only guy that was missing from this lineup was Giancarlo Stanton. They still weren't scoring runs. Like in the weekend where they didn't really score many runs other than the last game against the Cardinals, Rizzo was out, I get that. You still have guys in that lineup.
Yeah.
You need to be able to score runs, scratch some runs across, and we can't just sit here and rely on Aaron Judge. That's unfair.
It's not fair because pitchers will adjust. They will probably look to walk him a little bit more, let's be honest. And let's face it, there's not Benintendi's been better, but not great. He's not been great since he's been a New York Yankee. And look, that's another move that they made. Now, I like the move, but you can only go by a result, and it hasn't been great returns. And you wonder how these players play in big markets, because Benintendi was on the Royals.
Keep in mind, he played in Boston and played pretty well.
But how many times have we seen guys just kill another team? Because Benintendi killed the Yankees when he played as the Red Sox, and then they go to that team and they're not that great. It doesn't translate all the time. So I'm not saying Benintendi's in that category, but you wonder, could it get there? Because he is a free agent. I mean, you only get half a year possibly with the guy. So if the guy is not good for that half a year, it's not great. And, they didn't give up a lot for him because it's only a half a year. But a lot of his Cashman's moves right now, they're not working. You expected
Benintendi to come here and provide a spark, and that was right after Stanton went down, and you didn't give up many prospects to go get him. So, you understand that, and you're okay with that. But you needed Benintendi to step up in a big way while Stanton was gone, and he has not done that yet. And again, I know this doesn't have much effect on it, and Bader is going to be a nice postseason piece for this team. But wouldn't you like to have Montgomery right now in the starting rotation? Yeah, the last 5 games, they pitched very well, but wouldn't you like to have a guy like that?
Yeah, and the way Montgomery's pitched in St. Louis, I mean, how bad did that look? And he just ate the Yankees' medicine in that one game against them. Yep. I mean, let's be honest, he shut out baseball 1-0. Yep. 1-0 loss.
Yep. We do have a caller on the line. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Dave, and I am panicking from the Bronx right now.
Oh, I wouldn't be panicking, Dave. Come on. No panic. No panic.
Not looking good, guys.
But again, and you said it last night, they need to get their guys back. This is not going to be their postseason lineup. We understand that. Now, DJ, by the way, DJ not being healthy, and he's getting his, I think his toe or his foot looked at as he gets back to New York today.
Yeah,
he's been your second best hitter this season,
and this is now the second.
This might finally bring up Peraza, maybe, hopefully.
If LeMahieu goes on the IL,
if LeMahieu is out, this might finally have to force them to bring him up.
Well, you need some kind of spark, right? You need some kind of spark, and I think even if DJ was to not go on the IL and he's only to miss a couple of days, I think right now with this offense, the way it's been playing, with Carpenter out, with Stanton out, it would probably be the best thing to get this kid up.
LeCastro, he's a good guy off the bench to steal bases. He's not a guy in the lineup.
No,
and Donaldson batting 3. It cannot happen in baseball. For all the years of baseball, your best hitter bat third. You can't have a guy And Glaber is a 7-hitter. He's a good 7-hitter. Solid second baseman, 7-hitter. He's not a 4. He's not a 3. He's not a 5.
Yeah, I don't understand Donaldson batting third last night.
And one thing I'll say about your Mets, your guys, Marte,
Lindor,
they're in the same positions, and they play every day. In your lineup, that could be messing around with Yankee guys, too, like Benintendi. He's used to batting 3 every day. Now he comes to this team 5, 1, 6. Maybe sometimes it's the Yankees, too.
I thought about it last season when the Yankees really mismatched and their offense was not playing well. We really haven't had that this season. But you're right. I mean, they were talking about it.
It's old school where there's a 2-batter, you're a 2-hitter, you bat 2. You don't have to look at the lineup every day. You're batting 2.
Right.
Alonso bats 3.
Right, and it's 4. Alonso bats 4, Lindor 3.
Whatever. It's just they play games, and it could mess up some guys.
Right, and Buck does play with the bottom of the order, depending on who's playing or not. But you're right, you understand where guys are going to be, where guys are going to fit in, and it's worked. And thank you for the call, Dave. We appreciate it.
No problem.
They talked about it on the broadcast yesterday, and it came up on the Jeter broadcast, the K-Rod broadcast with Jeter as well. But they were talking about how Lindor plays every single day. And Alonso, for the most part, he gets some days DHing, but he's at first base every single day. He's in that lineup every single day. And they brought it up to Jeter, and they were like, how do you feel about these guys getting off? Because 162 games a year, were standing at shortstop. And I don't know, there are some guys that can do that. Lindor's done it his whole career. Even with Cleveland, he was still playing every day, batting in the same order.
Yeah, it works for Lindor, right. And he's comfortable. I mean, it's look, I think last year you could say maybe for Lindor nothing worked because I just think first year in New York. But for certain players it works for to have that same comfort level, and for the Yankees it does not work, and it's pretty obvious. And look, that falls on management. That's a management problem more so than a player problem. Yeah.
Well, listen, we'll see how that goes with the Yankees. I think eventually when you do get your guys back and hopefully DJ's okay and DJ comes back and is able to play in a couple of days, when you get Stanton back, you get Carpenter back, you get Bader back even in a month or so, you'll have a sustainable lineup that goes out there every single day. Right now, with guys coming up, coming down, injuries, you don't have that.
I mean, this is now the second. I mean, not to, say LeMay was an awful contract or anything like that, 'cause it's not, but this is now the second year in a row where the guy has dealt with some type of injury, lower body. I mean, you wonder, he's in his 30s. I mean, you don't know if he's starting to slow down a little bit. I mean, you have that a little bit of concern. I'm not saying the guy's done, but I mean, there is a little concern there.
Right. 516-572-7440 is the number to join if you want to talk about the Mets, the Yankees, Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones, Jets, Giants, whatever you want to talk about. We're going to get to football in a little bit. We are sticking with the Yankees, though. A lot of panic going on within Yankee fans, within the Yankee world, really, and I don't think that's the case. I have a feeling, I think a lot of people agree with me as well, but I think Chapman is going to end up being the closer of this baseball team.
I'm with you.
If things keep going the way they are, where Chapman has pitched a little better, and I think he's got a little scoreless streak going, actually.
Yeah.
He keeps that going, and Holmes keeps going in the same direction, which is not a good thing. I think you're going to see Chappie back in there. And listen, I know people have brought it up. Oh, it's because he's making a ton of money, and the Yankees front office will want that. Listen, they're going to go with whoever's the most effective guy. And I think Chapman is getting to a point where maybe they're going to consider it. Maybe with him pitching better in a limited role, in a lesser role, what it's going to do to his confidence when you put him back into that closer role. Like, okay, I'm the man, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you never know how guys going to be in the ninth inning. I mean, the seventh inning, it's not saying it's easy, but it's different. But
I think this could help him. I think this can have like a reverse effect. Like, maybe his confidence just jolts so up high, and now he's going to be pitching at an even different level. And we saw something in 2021. Remember, the first 2.5 months, we sat here and we said, this is the best we've ever seen Aroldis Chapman.
Yep.
And then he got tired. Things happened. He was not the same pitcher toward the end of the season. We know exactly what happens. Could that be, again, the opposite this year? Can you put him into the closer role later in the year, now mid-August, And can he go on a 2.5 month stretch where he could be a dominant, maybe not as dominant, but a solid closer, a guy that you can rely on? Can he get back to that point?
Yeah, you can never have full trust in Chad until he does it, just because he's had a lot more. It's been half and half. In big moments, he's failed actually as a closer. There's a good amount of times where he's failed, especially in the playoffs. It's not gone well, and you worry about command. I mean, that's what you worry about for a guy that throws 100. You're going to worry about guys that throw with command. If he can't throw strikes, because that's the guy I know of him as, there's going to be concern. I mean, if the guy's walking people, which could happen again, he then you're not worth being a closer. Right now he's a closer. He might be, because Clay Holmes been terrible.
But just think about this, and think of it from the Mets standpoint. You know, Diaz was terrible in 19. He was okay in 20. He was better
last year
in 2021, and now this year, obviously, he's been the best closer in baseball. Just think, turnarounds can happen with relief pitchers. It could be a complete 180 in a month, in a week. Things can change.
They're so temperamental. I feel like relievers in this day and age, they go on hot streaks, cold streaks, whatever. Like the guy we always talked about, that was Aaron Loop, had that great year for the Mets last year. Look at him this year, and Mets fans were calling, "Oh, why didn't you re-sign Loop?" It's such a year-to-year and sometimes even smaller time period thing with these guys.
Well, that was also very predictable.
You think so?
I did not want. I remember that we were at R.C. Dugan's the day Loop got signed, and I said, whatever. I did not care. If they brought him back, okay, but I didn't think that the money that they gave him was worth it. And you also got to look at the team that gave him the
That's true. They also give Noah Syndergaard the money.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the Phillies when we talk about the Phillies. When we talk about the Mets. They're interesting to me. Okay, they really surprised me this weekend. We're going to get to that in 1 second. The one thing that I think Yankee fans just overall have to look at is this. You have a 10-game lead. Well, the Blue Jays have not taken advantage of the Yankees playing bad for over a month now, for almost 2 months now.
Yeah.
They have not taken advantage of this. In the Rays, same thing.
Toronto's they may make the playoffs. They are one of the bigger disappointments I've ever seen, in a while. I thought they'd be better than this.
I thought they'd be much better than this too, because I predicted them to win the World Series, to go to the World Series. Yeah. They are a team that, and you'll see it, this weekend when they come into town to play the Yankees. They're a team that still scares me a little bit, because if they do get hot and guys get going, and I guess you could say that about anybody, but specifically them because of the star power that they have. Things can change in a hurry for this team, but they're going to make the playoffs, and all you got to do is get it.
I thought them changing the manager would help. It worked at first, but
it did work at first. And this Schneider guy is apparently, I think that's his name.
Yeah, Schneider. Yeah.
Apparently, the players like him a lot better than they did Montoya.
Yeah,
so
do you think there's any chance that the Yankees slide continues or gets worse, and the Blue Jays stay hot, this division gets even close by the end of the year?
Well, the Blue Jays aren't hot, so no, I don't. I really don't think this thing gets close. I think the Yankees are going to win this by at least 8 games. And they're going to cruise into it. And, for the Yankees, this isn't the worst thing in the world, because you haven't lost your division lead. Sure, you've relinquished the 1 seed, but I don't think that's shocking at all, considering the circumstances.
Looking at the American League and who's got that 1 seed now, being Houston, the Yankees' history with them and how good they are this year, think about that 1 seed is super important.
It is, but let me tell you, the matchup as of Friday, I haven't looked at it now if the seeding has changed. The Yankees are going to be in line to most likely play the winner of they're going to be playing the winner of the AL Central and the last wildcard team, and the winner of that series goes to play the Yankees. And
so that's going to be bad all around, pretty much.
So
not bad, but easy to beat.
Right. So
in theory,
for that second round, for the ALDS, you'd most likely rather have the 2 seed in this situation.
Yeah, it's such a bad American League. Yeah. It really is. I mean,
this year in particular.
Yeah, and it just that's what people always will say with the Yankees. If they were in the National League, who knows? But the American League, that's why nobody ever gives them praise when they win 100 games, because you're being up on the Royals and lousy baseball teams. The Red Sox this year are lousy. I mean, the Red Sox didn't look lousy this week, but there's a lot of lousy teams.
Walker can pitch, man. Walker can pitch. And by the way, Drew, how do you say his name? Rasum?
Yeah, Rasman.
He was great yesterday. I mean, one of the more efficient games pitched all season in a very long time, honestly. And he took a perfect game into the 8th inning when he had 80 pitches when he finished. He didn't get it, but he was very close, and that was very exciting to watch because I started watching like the 6th or the 7th, and I'm like, he has a serious chance. Like, he could do, like, he can easily
the pitch count, you thought he had it.
Yeah, you really did. So
it's like David Cohen's perfect game, 88 pitches. Like, it was that good.
That was upsetting to watch. I thought he was going to get it. He did not. But the Rays did beat the Orioles. Listen, the Orioles are seriously playing good baseball and have a serious chance at this thing to make the playoffs. I mean, they're a game and a half out right now.
Yeah,
wow,
it's insane what. You got to give Brian Hyde Manager of the Year if they make the playoffs. It has to. He's been. And you got to remember, he's had awful teams he's managed.
Oh,
and
yeah.
For him to have this team where it is, a year, maybe even 2 years ahead of schedule, it's insane what they've done.
And the owner said they're going to spend money this offseason.
Yeah.
I hope so. I'm rooting for them, honestly.
The payroll is going to go up significantly, he says. So, 100%. You are listening to WHPC Sports Talk here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Michael Merlo. We've got Matt Leonard, and we've got Ross Levine here on a very busy Monday. We are going to talk about the Mets. They did take 2 out of 3 from their division rival, Philadelphia Phillies, over the weekend, and the Mets start a huge week. They got 4 versus the Braves tonight. Spencer Strider goes for the Braves.
Say his name right.
It's Strider.
Yeah.
Spencer Strider goes tonight for the Braves. Obviously, his comments last Sunday about the Mets being lucky and having the umpires on their side. He's going to have a chance.
That must be a theme, apparently, because the Phillies broadcasters had a ball with that same theme.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. He's going to have a chance to redeem himself and back it up. He has a real chance at it. If he goes out there and has 12 strikeouts over 6 innings and gives up 2-3 hits and shuts them out.
I'm not defending him for that statement.
I'm not defending.
Well he pitches.
I'm not defending him because it's a dumb statement.
He had an off day. It happened to be against a division rival. It happens.
And it's the second time he's done that. But let's see. Let's see if the Mets are able to work the count against him like they did last time and get to him. But we'll see that in a little bit. Let me say this. And 516-572-7440 is the number to join if you want to talk Mets baseball or whatever you want, really sports related. I was very impressed with the Philadelphia Phillies this weekend. I mean, very impressed.
Why? Because they looked awful offensively the last 2 games?
No.
Oh.
Listen, they are, especially Friday night, and a game that the Mets should have won. I think we can all realize that. The Mets should have won that game on Friday night. But, listen, their defense, I mean, and this doesn't sound right after Sunday's performance, but their defense has improved.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. Their bullpen has improved. We knew they had good starting pitching, and now it's, really showing itself. Ranger Suarez is back. Nola has been really, really good this season. Obviously, Wheeler outside of yesterday's been good. They've got some real starters in this rotation. They've got real bullpen arms now. Their defense is better. And listen, they didn't hit well offensively, and they were pretty pathetic all weekend long, and it was kind of funny to watch. But just remember something. They did not have Kyle Schwarber. And they obviously have not had Bryce Harper.
I know, but this is what I'll say about the Phillies, okay? They have played, and again, their pitching's been much better.
100%.
Much better. I'm not going to go as far as because Rob Thompson's there, although I do think Rob Thompson's done a great job. They have played a very weak schedule, okay? They've played the Pirates. They're playing the Reds tonight. They're playing the National. They played some awful baseball.
And by the way, the rest of the season is like that because they played their tough part of the schedule already.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not afraid of the Phillies in the postseason whatsoever. I know their pitching's been better, but I think they will somehow, some way screw it up because that's what the Phillies do.
That's not a bold prediction at all. I don't think
the Mets will see them this weekend, and I think they're going to miss DeGrom. They'll miss DeGrom and Scherzer. I'm pretty sure.
Lucky them
this weekend. So we'll see what happens. They'll still have to face Carrasco and Walker, Peterson and Bassett, but it's a
rotation to the luxury. I love it.
Rotation's amazing. So we do have a caller on the line, though. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, Mr. Merlo. This is Justin Greenberg calling from the car.
Hello, Justin. How are you?
I'm doing great. I do have to disagree with you, though, about Friday's game. I don't think the Mets deserve to win that game at all. I mean, they were out-hit. They made so many stupid plays on the base pads, just defensive errors. I think the Phillies, because I went to that game, and I was, upset. They had their moments where they could have striked, especially in the ninth inning with those hard hit balls, and then an error by Tomas Nido dropping that ball from Marte. But I didn't feel that upset leaving the stadium because I thought the Phillies completely outplayed them. Did you not feel that way?
Let me say this, Justin, because I think there is a difference between me saying that the Mets should have won that game and the Mets could have won that. Let me rephrase that. The Mets were outplayed, okay?
Yeah.
I completely agree. But they had the game right there. So while they didn't play well in the game, they should have won the game because they were the better team.
Marte took a chance. It didn't work.
It was a bad chance. It was a bad chance. You cannot, listen, I love Marte. He's been fantastic for this team.
They're aggressive now. That's what they are.
I love the aggressiveness, but that is a short fly ball.
Yeah.
A very short. He wasn't close.
No, he wasn't close, but you have to look, that's what the Mets are now. That's their new way of doing things. When they're aggressive, like any team is, it's gonna work. Sometimes you're gonna look like a genius, and then the other times you're gonna be on the highlight reel against you. That's just expect that's gonna happen a few times this year because they're gonna be that aggressive. But it works. It worked for a lot of portions of this season. It didn't work that way. And guess what? Because of Rob Manfred's stupid rule, they lost the game. That's what happened. They lost the game because of Rob Manfred and that stupid rule on second rule.
Justin, how was the game on Friday night? What was the energy like?
You know what? It was so hyped up in that ninth inning that, when they didn't follow through in the bottom of the ninth, you could hear a pin drop in the 10th inning, and you just knew they were going to lose that game. But the atmosphere was great. I mean, Scherzer didn't have his stuff. And he's such a good pitcher that even when he's not pitching up to snuff, he still only lets up one run. His ERA drops. I mean, he's unbelievable. But I have two questions, and then I'll listen to what your guys' thoughts are.
Yeah.
I don't know, did Marte make that decision himself, or did they talk about that? Like, wouldn't he been sent by the third base coach? And then the other question would be, so, like, a loss like that is upsetting, but would you rather go to a game where you lose like 7-0, 8-0, and it's just a complete blowout, or like a heartbreaking extra innings loss? So I'm going to hang up. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that, and let me know if you have any info on what Marte did on that play. Have a good one, boys.
All right, thanks.
That second question's really interesting by Justin there.
It's very easy. So I have a couple of Mets news things. So we're going to get to Justin's question 1 second. Actually, answer Justin's question right now. Okay. Marte was sent by Cora, I'm pretty sure. And I would rather lose a close game like that because I remember that Friday night blackout against the Braves where Walker just completely imploded.
That's
in the first
embarrassing.
innings.
That was bad.
It's embarrassing and it sucks because I was at work and I was looking forward to going home and watching the game, and there was nothing to watch, although they made it something to watch because they came back. But, all right, very quickly, Mets news. So, number one, Tomas Nido is not in Atlanta due to an illness. He was batting .277 over his last 15 games and regularly catches DeGrom and Scherzer. Hopefully he's back by the last two games of the series. Michael Perez is in Atlanta.
He's the new guy for the Pirates, right?
They traded for him a few weeks ago. He's very good defensively. Can't really hit. Has more power, though, than any of these guys, but can't really hit for average at all. And the last thing, Luis Guillorme is out. He's going on the injured list. He has a groin injury. I see 4 to 6 weeks. I see 3 to 4 weeks. So expect about a month.
Does that mean what we've been hearing is going to happen?
Well, the thing that came up last night was that Brett Beatty possibly has a chance, who was just called up to AAA. He's one of the Mets' top 3 prospects. He's a young kid, and he wrecked AA. I mean, crushed it. And his first week in AAA was really good, too. So I don't know if the Mets are going to rush him along, but if they believe that he's ready to go, we might see a big-time bat coming up to replace Luis Guillorme in this lineup.
What's the deal with Vientos? They're looking for a third baseman. Why would you go Beatty over Vientos right now?
Vientos hasn't played third base.
Oh, he's been DHing?
He's been DHing and playing first. He doesn't really have much positional flexibility. Beatty, can play third, which is needed right now. I'm almost positive he can go into the outfield as well.
Oh.
So, in the corners at least.
That is interesting.
Vientos is just his positional flexibility has not been great. And that is a good question from Justin. Would you rather see a blowout or would you rather lose a close game? I think that's pretty easy. I think close game.
I guess it depends on how you lose the close game. I mean, I think like when that whole thing happened against the Braves where Taijuan Walker got destroyed and they lost 9-6, I could live with that loss. Like, it's not really that heartbreaking for me. I actually thought that loss was actually one of their best losses of the season.
Yes,
because they fought back.
Because now that they fought back, it actually helped them win the next 3 games because
That's true.
It rested their bullpen more, and the Braves bullpen was gassed. So I think it actually kind of almost worked in their favor that game.
A little fire under the Mets too. That's what they came out swinging the next 3.
Yeah, so I think that loss you could live with. The extra inning loss, you lose sleep a little bit for it, but I think after a while you realize like it's a silly rule. I guess those are more stingers when it comes down to a silly rule.
Silly rule or not, the rule applies to both teams.
Yeah,
they didn't like the Phillies had a runner and the Mets didn't.
Yeah,
the Mets had the same exact opportunity to score the Phillies did. They didn't capitalize on it.
But it's silly to have a runner on second with nobody out.
I fully agree with you, but you have to keep in mind it's a level playing field.
Very quickly, Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos are not options to be activated. So coming up.
Yeah, well,
who's coming up then? What are we doing?
I don't know.
What's the move?
Escobar. That's the move.
No, but they have to put somebody on the roster.
Well, Escobar's starting tonight. He can't play. He can't hit righty just yet. He thinks in the next day or 2 he's going to be able to.
I hope Escobar gets
So that
better,
means if a lefty comes up from the pen, Escobar's going to bat left-handed?
Yes.
That's,
or they'll,
oh, God.
Or I don't know. Or they'll pinch it. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah, to me, I would call those guys up at some point just because.
I give Beatty a shot
and these guys,
until Guillorme comes back, and if it doesn't work out, send him back down. Give him more development.
And these guys, you didn't want to trade to get bullpen arms. So guess what? Now you need to call them. Now you should call them up. You have full faith in these guys, right?
I agree.
And you know what? They say all the time, the pitchers, they have a book on these series. What book do they have on these guys? I mean, if you really, maybe they crush it for 2 weeks. I mean, this is a perfect time to crush it for 2 weeks. You're playing the Braves, the Phillies, the Yankees at some point. This is a perfect time to crush up.
Speaking on the Braves and the Mets series and guys coming up from the minors, who is this rookie for the Braves that's mashing right now?
What's his Grissom? Vaughn Grissom?
Who is this guy? I never heard of this guy in my life.
He can play, and we're going to see him tonight. He's starting at second base.
He is mashing right now. I know he just came up and probably not used to him in the league, but oh my God, he's hitting 450-foot bombs.
Well, that's exactly what it is, and that's Ross's point, and I agree. You know, this is the wrong move. And not only because you think that these guys can add a spark that you don't have right now, but Escobar's not 100%. And you lose Guillorme, who was, he was the starting third baseman at this point.
Ken had to play third at one point.
Right, so this was your starting third baseman for the last few weeks now while you have been rolling. You got to trot something else out there, and they're going to call up one of these guys. I don't even know their names. They're just taxi squad players that are not
Travis
good.
Blankenhorn.
You know, you don't need to see that. That does not do anything for you. So this is the wrong move by the Mets. This is a rare bad move from the Mets this season. Not calling up one of these guys. And I understand. You don't want to ruin the development of these guys. It's you just want to see the big prospects. No, this is being smart about things. You want a big spark off the bench. You want a guy that can come in there and play a couple of days a week and add something big. Adding Travis Blankenhorn and adding, Kramer Robinson, I think, is one of the other guys.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. This does nothing to your team. It doesn't help you, and it limits your bench options. So please, you can't give me this BS. I don't want to bring these guys up. Come on.
I don't want to hear about the development thing either from the Mets if they say that, because, trial by fire isn't always the best thing for young players like that. Beatty has proven anywhere he goes, he hits. I get he has been AAA long, but he's clearly hot with the bat right now, no matter where he's hitting.
This is why I Apple made some good moves with getting Naquin and Vogel back and Ruff. Those were good moves.
Can Ruff play third? Is that a thing he can do?
I don't.
No. Okay.
I don't. That's where I don't love with what Apple did at the deadline, because if you're telling me you want to keep these prospects together, not want to get rid of David Robertson, which I think they needed. This is why I have a problem, because if you like those guys, call them up, and I don't know what you're protecting them for. Then that's my issue. Again, I don't know who's making these decisions. By the way, like I said, Buck.
That's a good point.
We don't know, because the Mets, historically speaking, have not, I guess, rushed their prospects up that quickly. So I don't know.
Think about this though. The one time recently they did that, it was Conforto and they took him to a World Series.
Yeah.
Not him specifically, but that was a little bit of a spark they needed, and Conforto was on the World Series team that year.
But who do you think made that decision that year?
I have no idea. Based on that regime, I have no idea.
I mean, that was Alderson. I don't think anything. That had to be Alderson.
Yeah,
I don't know who it is.
Wasn't
this
the
year.
Wilpons?
I don't know who it is this year.
Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, does Epler make that decision? I don't.
I would guess so. I think it's Epler's call.
I think it's him and a bunch of other guys. Steve Cohen's more like the collaborative thing.
I don't think it's Buck. I don't think it's Buck.
No, it's not Buck. It's not Buck. No, look.
Why, who do you think it's between?
I think it's Epler. I think Epler's making these decisions.
So do I.
Do you think Cohen has any say?
No.
Do you think he wants any say?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I just, again, that's where I have the problem with the deadline. That's my issue.
This isn't a good move. Listen, if you could tell me that you have a guy that can come up from AAA that you know is there and is a productive player that can give you good at bats at the major league level, that's a fringe minor leaguer, major leaguer.
Just like when Donald Smith went down, we were calling for Daniel Palka to come up. He can't play third, but if it was a guy like that, I'd be fine with it.
Right, but exactly, kind of like a guy like that, where you kind of can gather that they're going to be a solid major league. You can't tell me that whoever they're going to call up, okay, is better than one of these guys.
It'll lead automatic out, most likely.
Exactly. And I get the Vientos thing. If he can't play third, because, I mean, that's what I read the last time they had something like this happen. If he can't play third, he can't play third. I don't want him. They're right. And you shouldn't you completely screw yourself with having him. If he can only play first, he's useless.
Yeah, I mean, Escobar. I mean, look, they gave Escobar a 2-year deal. I don't know how much money is in that deal, but they gave him a 2-year deal, and they're going. This is to me a money move.
Oh, come on!
I do. Okay, but Escobar, he's been
Ross. They haven't played Escobar. They have not played Escobar against right-handed pitching. They have not played him.
Okay, but they
just haven't.
Him. They signed him though.
Yes, we know that.
Okay,
they didn't know it would turn out like this. They wouldn't want that if they were going to sign with the contract they did.
They signed to a 2-year deal.
Yeah,
and I think they looked at his contract as this is a stopgap for a year. And when that year is over, which is this year, they will call those guys up, and they will probably move Escobar, or Escobar will be a veteran off the bench. Right. I think that's what it is.
But how is this
they
a money?
They plan to call these guys up any time this year.
But how is it money? Well, things have to change. Things happen. There's injuries now. Escobar hasn't played well. Now Guillorme, who was playing third base, 3/4 of the time now, he's hurt. Things change, and you have to be able to think on the fly and make moves like this. To me, it's just a scared move. It doesn't make sense, and you see it. Your division rival you're about to start a big series with. They just called up one of their younger kids, a 21-year-old.
Well, he's killing it for them.
And he's killing it. He just had a big series, hit 2 home runs.
Okay. And by the way, I don't know how much last year you watched the Angels play, but when Epler was there, did he ever really call guys up?
I didn't watch enough of the Angels.
Because that's the thing, too. If Epler didn't call guys up with the Angels, he's probably not going to do it here. So
some guys are more conservative about that. I don't agree with that, but
you got to learn from your mistakes. So
we don't know, but he may not have learned from his mistakes. So you don't know. When did Epler get hired by the Mets? Like after he was fired, like a month stretch where he didn't have a job. I mean,
I think it was a bit more than that.
A year.
It was a year. Yeah, he took a year off.
Right, but some guys don't. They don't sometimes learn from their mistakes. That's my point. Like there's guys that learn, and those are the good guys. And look, Edward's done a great job.
He's a very educated baseball guy. I have a feeling he's able to learn from his mistakes, but is he willing to?
You may be the biggest critic of Billy Epler. I think ever.
There are certain things that I'm not in love with. I think they need to add a lefty to the bullpen.
So did I.
And
maybe they didn't get the right deal. Maybe he didn't want to give up certain things because the deal wasn't right.
I'm the reason why I guess I'm the biggest critic is because again I've seen him do a lot of very good things. Okay, the Chris Bassett move, great trade.
I agree.
Max Scherzer, great signing. I love the fact that they got Marte. I don't love the contract, but I love him right now. He's been great. Escobar, don't love him.
You're not gonna hit everybody.
You're not gonna hit everybody. You're right.
Canada's been for the contract pretty good.
Pretty good. Letting Aaron Loup go, great move. Loup's been terrible for the Angels. So there's been a lot of really good things, and that's why I get frustrated when he doesn't he doesn't make this great move. Now, and again, my thing with any general manager that I root for if I'm going to praise the guy, I'm also going to criticize the guy. That's just the way I am when I root for my teams.
You're strong one way or the other, whatever they do.
Yeah, like once I'm in the pool of praising or criticizing, I'm in the pool. I stick to that pool until the guy's gone. So that's me. It's kind of like what I did with Gettleman.
Can he win you over if he's, makes a bunch of great moves or something?
Yeah, he could win me over. And again, he did a lot of really good things. I'm not saying he should be fired. I'm just saying this move I don't get, and I didn't understand why he wasn't more aggressive at the deadline. Again, maybe there wasn't a move out there. But
a lot of the prices for a lot of the guys the Mets wanted were very, very high, and they didn't end up getting traded. Yeah. We always talk about, Contreras and JD Martinez didn't get moved. Andrew Chafin was a big target for a lot of teams. Mets were on the top of that list.
Yeah.
He didn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
maybe the Tigers were being stupid and asking for too much for a guy like that. But
I think the Tigers, I think it was different because I think they fired their general manager.
I was going to say, Alavila got fired after 22 years with them, so maybe there was something to that.
Yeah, they did not want to make any changes, knowing that he was going to get fired. Or
maybe he was fired somehow, but something behind the scenes because he didn't trade away enough guys that can get them minor leaguers.
Yeah, and look, we don't know, because this whole rumor with Steve Cohen, they know he wants to negotiate with Steve Cohen. I don't know. Maybe that's in the way. I don't know. But if that is in the way, all bets are off. But, I don't know. I don't know if Cohen's in the way. I guess he is, because I guess not a lot of people like him, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's jealousy.
I don't like this. I think that, and Showalter just said they want somebody that could also play the middle infield as well, on top of playing the corner. So,
how many guys like that are in this system?
I don't know.
In baseball,
I'm gonna guess it's somebody we don't know and don't like. How about that? And somebody that can't play. We do have a caller on the line. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, I just tuned in. It's Charlie from Flow Park.
What's up, Charlie?
Did you guys discuss the Fernando Tatis situation at all today?
Not yet. Haven't got to it, but if you want to talk about it.
You know me, I hate these ridiculous long-term contracts.
Right.
And this has got to be the worst. He had a clause that they could have voided the contract because he got hurt breaking on a motorcycle. He broke his wrist, I believe. And now he's out on a PED for the rest of the season. I mean, my God. He didn't even have much of a track record to give him that ridiculous, whatever it is, 15-year contract for $340 million. I just can't stand these contracts. The other point is, remember I called, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, about how guys play for one-year contracts, and that's why Judge is having this incredible. See, that's what makes the really, really great players great. Somebody like a Derek Jeter, they play every year. Even A-Rod, they play every year as if they're on a one-year contract. They don't. It's not about the money. It's about some internal drive that they have. A guy like Michael Jordan. Now, LeBron was richer than rich in high school. They have this inner drive. That's what makes them Hall of Famers. But your average guy, you give him 10 years, like Tatis, he goes out and goes on a motorcycle, breaks his wrist, and then he does steroids. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, this Tatis thing is really bad, and I had said when he did fall off that bike and hurt himself, and thank you for the call, Charlie, we appreciate it.
You got it.
I remember I said they should void it. They should do whatever they can, get out of this deal, because as good as he is, and from what we've seen, yes, a small sample size, but we've seen some extreme talent with this guy.
But now, with this newest development, though, we don't know how much of that is legit.
I don't know. I don't even think the steroid thing is huge in my mind.
Do you believe his story, or do you think it's total BS?
I had ringworm, and I can tell you something right now. I did not use steroid PEDs to get rid of ringworm. So
where would you have gotten that? I don't want to get into that. It's gross, but
I had ringworm on my face.
Oh,
not my face, like my neck area, over here. I'm a big guy, so I don't have much of a neck. So neck chinish area down here.
Well, it all blends together.
Yeah, so I had a ringworm there because I was a wrestler, and it's very common in wrestlers. But I don't really believe his story. But either way, Tatis.
Where would he have gotten this from?
I don't know. I guess
he's been sitting at home all year, supposedly.
It's really, really not good for the San Diego Padres. And if you didn't see what AJ Preller, the general manager, said about him, You should go check it out because I've never really seen a general manager of a team in any sport come down as hard as Preller did on Tatis.
You see Machado and Musgrove's comments on it? They're not happy with him either.
How could you be happy with this guy? Remember, Machado, who's a hothead and could be whatever you want to think of him.
He gives all the sound bites to media at once. He's like their dream person.
Right. Remember last season, late in the year when that team had collapsed? They got into a screaming match in the dugout.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that was Machado, Tatis, whoever was acting up. But either way, Tatis is immature. He's ultra talented, but I think his stupidity is going to get in the way from us seeing how great this guy can actually be.
Oh, absolutely.
And for the Padres, I mean, do you think that they would have made this move for Soto, knowing that they would not have Tatis for the rest of the season? So now you're going to have this big three for only 2 playoff runs?
I think it works out better now. Thank God for them they got Soto.
Yeah, Soto to me, like, the Padres want to win over the Dodgers because everybody knows the Dodgers get these stars all the time. And I think
look how that went in their 3-game set last weekend.
Yeah, so but AJ Pressler, their GM, wants to not lose to the Dodgers again in terms of getting a big player. And I think that's why they made the move. I still think that move makes sense for them. Either way, I mean, look, in terms of you don't know when when these athletes get paid, you don't know how much they really care anymore. I'm not saying Tatis at that level, but you never know. I mean, look, I see what just locally with the Giants. I don't know, but I mean,
the guy locally I pointed to was getting the money and running away was Julius Randle.
Oh, I see it with
Julius Randle.
I see it with Galladay and Randle. But yeah, it happens with that's what you always worry when you give these guys long-term deals.
Well, let's see how this progresses.
Tatis is an idiot. I can't say that enough. Like,
he's an idiot. He's a real idiot.
It's one thing even to crash the dirt bike. Then there was that video. Thank goodness for him and for the San Diego Padres and for everybody involved. He did not get hurt when he was playing soccer in the outfield a few months later with a cast on his arm, on his wrist.
And he rolled his ankle or something.
He like tripped over the soccer ball, basically stood on it for a second, not trying to, but he tripped, stood on the soccer ball. His ankle should have been broken right there. Thankfully for him, nothing happened. He got very lucky on that one.
Well, he's an idiot. And again, talking about the Mets very quickly, they got a big week coming up. Ross, they could put this division away. If they have a good week here, and listen, I'm not predicting they're going to go 6-2, but you split both of these series even, you're setting yourself up very well with a weak September and really rest of August, aside from 3 games against the Dodgers and 2 against the Yankees.
Yeah.
You have a very easy month of September. You split here. You keep the lead at 5.5, 6 games, whatever it is.
Take that.
You go right into September feeling pretty good about yourself. If you could do better than that this week, you do better, and you really put it away.
They get Scherzer and DeGrom in the Braves series, right?
Yeah, that's the last 2 games of the series.
Perfect.
So we'll see what happens there with the Mets. And by the way, Matt brought it up before. These Philly commentators yesterday.
Talk about soft.
Talking about soft contact and the Mets getting lucky. Listen. The Phillies, how many times in the last 2 days, 3 days, did they get guys on base? And they couldn't even put the ball in play.
And
just the play McNeil scored on yesterday, by the way, they're beating themselves.
Yeah,
there's no luck in that. Don't even say bad luck for the Phillies. Their defense, and even the guys they brought in. Brandon Marsh is the guy who made the error in center field that allowed McNeil to score.
And that happens. A bad play or two happens even to the best. But come on, don't talk about luck. Please, for the love of God.
Half the runs they scored was a ghost runner. I mean, that's luck. I mean, not all luck, but that's the difference right there between the Phillies commentators and the Mets, because the Mets, it's so fun. They both sounded different. So the Phillies sounded soft there, obviously.
You didn't hear Keith this weekend for obvious reasons.
But you saw this with Howie and Wayne.
Yeah.
It was hilarious because what he said yesterday during the game when the Marlins, so they had a 1-0 lead, they blew it to the Braves, of course. And
thanks, Miami.
Yeah, and Howie said to Scott, who their reliever was, "Thanks for nothing," and he was and he was saying afterwards, like, we don't mean to sound childish here.
Yeah.
So that's like, talk about a little bit of a shot there.
Well, they're very childish.
They're taking accountability though.
Yeah,
they're very childish over there in Philadelphia, and they're very biased, and they're unlike the New York broadcasters, and even to a point. I don't even think Michael Kay and the Yankee broadcasters are as biased as the guys from Philadelphia, but they are.
On the broadcast, you're right. Yes. Yeah, you're right on the broadcast.
It's very obvious. So, put the ball in play. Play baseball. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to strike out every time. You're supposed to put the ball in play.
That's why the Mets are so good, and it's why they run up guys' pitch counts. Even if they're fouling pitches off, you see like Strider had 70 pitches after like 3, 4 innings.
And Salicata said this morning, and I hate to just steal what he said, but he's 100% true. Like, you went up there and struck out. How many times Saturday? I think another 10 on Sunday.
It was 10 yesterday.
Like, you're an embarrassment.
No, it was 11. The last one, out of the game, made 11.
You're an embarrassment. I mean, come on, man. So be better. Be better, broadcasters. These teams, these players complaining. Why don't you just shut the hell up? I mean, just beat them. Beat the Mets. Okay? Shut them up by doing that.
Step right up and beat the Mets.
I mean, come on, man. Anyway, you are listening to WHPC Sports Talk here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC, 516-572-7440 is the number to join. And I'm Michael Merlo. I've got Matt Leonard, and I've got Ross Levine. Your WHPC weather forecast powered by Pantano's Gourmet in Hewlett, Uniondale, and Garden City Park. Right now, we've got 80 degrees and partly cloudy here in Garden City, New York. The high was 82 today. Tonight should get to a low of 65. But the weather's been good. We were outside all day today.
Oh, that was fantastic. Nice breeze.
The weather,
golf course.
The weather's been a lot better since this other heat wave that we've basically had for like 4 weeks. But whatever.
It's been a drought, yeah.
It's gone, and we're happy to have this nice, late summer weather.
Speaking of drought, the Jets and Giants.
Yeah. Let's start with Zach Wilson quick because, you watched that video Friday night of him in that preseason game with a non-contact injury, and you're like, yeah, he most likely tore his ACL or something.
I thought he was done for the year in that moment. I felt so bad for every Jets fan watching that.
And I did too. I really felt bad for Jet fans because, I know what it's like to be that fan. And I'm not saying the Giants have been this model franchise the last 10 years, but, I've seen Super Bowls and I've seen success in my life as a football fan, and I know what it's like to be a Jet fan, as a Mets fan in baseball. So I understand that, and I really did. Like, I really felt bad. Like, you have all this promise, and I think it's false hope because I don't think they can win many games this year.
Even with Wilson fully healthy. If he started week 1 fully healthy.
I didn't think they were winning many games, but there was still excitement to see how he does and how this new team looks with, the second year of this coaching staff. There was excitement around that, and I felt bad for them. But thankfully, we think Wilson's going to be okay. He's going to have a mini procedure done to see exactly what he needs. I think
tomorrow.
It's a torn meniscus, so that takes about 2 to 4 weeks to repair. And if it's just that, there's a chance he's ready for week 1. I doubt it. Maybe week 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But there's a
chance
chance
the Jets, I don't play him until week 2 or 3, maybe even 4, depending on how he feels.
You know what? You don't have a chance. Week
That's what I'm saying. Like, not even that. Just they don't have a chance, period, to win a championship this year. Well, everyone knows it.
I shouldn't say doesn't have a chance week 1. They could win week 1. I just,
But the point of this year is not about going out and winning the Super Bowl. It's about developing your young quarterback, and that means not getting him hurt.
Yeah, exactly. So if it means 2 or 3 weeks out, it's 2 or 3 weeks out, and you bring him back when he's ready to go. But this team isn't winning playoff games this year.
Not making playoff games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the Zach Wilson thing. And again, we'll know more tomorrow. We'll know exactly what's going on with Zach tomorrow, and we'll know exactly.
Around this time, probably.
Yeah, and we'll know exactly how much time he is going to miss. He flew to Los Angeles to have this done.
Oof.
So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's good news for Jet fans, though. Because
when they bring you to the specialist, that's never good.
Well, he's going to the specialist.
It's rarely good, I should say.
Hopefully this is good. With the Giants, quick, though. I mean, I didn't even watch the preseason game.
Did you watch the highlights or the lowlights, whatever you want to call them?
No, I didn't watch anything. I saw the Galladay route, where he looked slow and disinterested and
lost.
I saw that. But let me say, can I just say this for my reputation?
Yeah,
and I was high on the Giants coming into this year, and I'm not even saying this because I watched. Because again, I didn't really watch much of the preseason game.
Yep.
From what you hear from the coaches, from what you hear at practice, what you hear from what smart people following them at practice, I'm out on Daniel Jones. I'm out on this team unless Tyrod Taylor starts more than half of the games this year. The Giants' win total of 7.5 is going under.
Yeah.
They are not going to be good.
They're not going to be good. And look, I don't think they're going to be good no matter what. But look, I like Brian Dable. I think he's going to be a very good head coach.
So do I.
I think Joe Shane's going to be a very good general manager. Okay. I think they're telegraphing the inevitable, which is a guy that's not going to be here after this year, which is Daniel Jones, by the way. And you can see in a few ways because they didn't pick up his option, which is the right thing to do.
Smart move.
And there's been Brian Dable has not had Daniel Jones's back, and as he should not, because this is the guy that they did not draft. They have no ties to him, and they also have came from a great organization with the Buffalo Bills. They know success. And Daniel Jones, even though maybe certain things with the throw being a bit low, a bit high, whatever, they don't trust him. I agree with them. And I think he will be benched in week number 8. Wow. I think this guy's done.
He's done.
Yeah, he is done. And I'm not blaming these guys because they had no ties.
Not their fault.
Not their fault. And look, this whole idea about blaming the coordinators and blaming the head coaches are over for Daniel Jones. It's over. Okay.
If he can't succeed in this system with what is supposed to be improved offensive line, more improved offensive system with serious weapons around you, if you can't succeed in this environment, then you're done. And you know what really made me come to this realization is when we're talking about Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
And you hear what we're talking about with Wilson, that if you don't see it after year 2, it's done. And I'm like, it's year 4. Enough of the excuses with Daniel Jones. You should have saw something already. Even through bad coaches and bad coordinators and bad systems, you should, and bad teams, you're still going to see something. I mean, we saw something in Justin Herbert in his first year with a bad offensive line and a bad offensive system.
You're not looking for a Hall of Famer out of the guy, Hall of Fame potential, and a gold jacket player, whatever.
Yeah.
If he could be serviceable, even, I'm sure you would take that as Giants fan.
No, but even so, Matt, if he has a season where he goes for 25 touchdowns and 10 picks and his quarterback rating, let's say he has like a 85, 90 quarterback rating, get rid of him. What is he going to do for you?
It's not good enough.
It's not good enough, and that's why he's not going to be the future. Look, I think a lot of these guys, to be honest, are not going to be the future on this roster right now, outside of the guys that, of course, they drafted.
Right.
Because think about it like this, and I could just tell based off what Joe Sheen did this offseason. He doesn't believe in running backs in terms of paying a lot of money. That's pretty obvious.
Which is a good thing.
I'm glad that, because Gettleman thought the opposite.
The biggest idiot on this planet, Dave Gettleman.
And I think Barkley won't be here, Jones won't be here, and Galladay won't even be here. I think they're going to cut him after this year. How about that?
Can I say one last thing on the show?
Yeah.
It's not exactly sports related, but as you guys know, my grandfather listens every single day to this show, and I want to give him a quick message because he's, not doing so great right now. So, Grandpa, I know you're watching right now. I'm coming to see you in about a half hour. Keep fighting. That's all I'm going to say.
Keep fighting. Say a prayer for your grandpa. Thank you for always listening. And, I wanted to say one more thing about the Giants, and I forgot.
Daniel Jones is terrible.
He's terrible, terrible. Yeah, I guess we'll end it off on that. Well, we're obviously going to talk football all week long, as we're getting closer. And, of course, again, enjoy the baseball tonight. The Yankees play the Rays, and what is, this week's going to be a big week for the Yankees.
Big rivalry week divisional-wise in New York. So
yeah, big week for both New York teams. So we will talk to you guys tomorrow. For Matt, Leonard, and Ross Levine, I'm Michael Merlo here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Have a great rest of the night, everybody.